welcome back to Katrina's Creations Knitting Podcast. As you can hear, I've got a little bit of yuckiness going on, so it's going to be kind of a short podcast today, but I did want to still do the podcast because otherwise I get behind, and yeah. So anyway, let's get started. I'm going to start with, I've got tea. Hopefully I won't break into a coughing fit and have to do major editing, but anyway, in this cute teacup, it is called, it's made by Mud Pie. I think it's just called Mud Pie Company. No, just Mud Pie. I have seen some Starbucks apparently did that were very similar, but maybe they got them from this company. I got this off of Amazon a few months back, and I think it's like a 16 ounce, and it is ceramic, and it's dishwasher and microwave safe, so it's really nice. And I am drinking Twining's Christmas tea. It's like cinnamon and clove, and I'm not a fruity tea person. I tend to like black teas, and I like stuff that's strong. I'm not a big decaf drinker because, like I said, I like strong tea. And I don't like green tea at all. I feel like I'm drinking tea that's been strained through grass clippings. I know, that sounds terrible. Some people really like it. I'm just not one of them. So, I wanted to answer one lady who had left a comment asking about the stainless steel knitting needles that I use, and I had ordered off of eBay. I told her I didn't know the name of the company and told her where to find it. Her name is Allison, Crazy Cat Lady, is the one that asked the question. In the process of cleaning out my craft room, I actually found one of the wrappers that the knitting needles were in. So this is what they look like. And it actually says panda right here. And it has two little pandas on the front. So that is what the wrapper that they came in looks like. They are Chinese knitting needle sizes, so where it says size 6 here, that is in Chinese sizing. It's not in US or in millimeters. So they do send you a little needle gauge that comes with it that you can compare. And I just put it in my regular needle gauge. I have a gauge that I can check things with. So anyway, if that helps. And it says they're stainless steel. In all honesty, I really don't know that they are. They're not magnetic. I've tried to stick things to them. Nothing sticks, although with them being stainless steel, well, yeah, things should stick to them. So I'm not even convinced they're really metal. I just know that they're the color of metal. This is some of them right here. They don't sound like metal. If you can, I don't know if you can hear that or not. They don't sound like it, but they have such nice coils where the coil joins, and it's a very smooth join, and I have had no problem whatsoever with this disconnecting. It's like all one molded piece. I really like them, and they're cheap. Ones that I've gotten off of eBay that I do not like are the bamboo ones. They come in a large set of like 8. The bamboo part's fine. The connectors are what I've had problems with. Let's see if I can slide this down far enough for you to see it. Right here where it connects, I have had them disconnect. In fact, this one disconnected, and I ended up with dropping a bunch of the stitches the other day, and I had to put glue on and re-glue it, and this has happened to quite a few of the sets. So I would not recommend these, but the metal ones I really like, or metal ones I really like. So let's get started. I have several whips. One of the whips would be my craft room. I got partway through the craft room, this nastiness hit, and to be honest, all I felt like doing was sitting in a chair with a hot cup of tea and the heater going. I think it's all sinus and stuff. It's not a cold, but it's just enough that I just didn't feel like coming home from work and cleaning up in the craft room. But it is about halfway done, so hopefully next week I will be able to do a craft room tour of what I've got going on. So I will start with my whips. What I've got that I'm working on, I am still working on the Dragonfels. And I'll show you how far I've gotten this week. And this is the project that is on with those metal knitting needles. Let me move my teacup. Here's my progress keeper right here. So I haven't knitted a whole lot just right here, but I think I'm at about 180 stitches going across at this point. And it's funny, you can see some of the pattern in here, like right here and right up here. And then you can see the striping. The striping is really showing up well. But some of the other parts of the pattern are not, and that is because I'm using a yarn that has a lot of color in it. If you want to see a gorgeous one, if you check out the latest Cherry Pearls podcast, which is one of the podcasts that I like to watch, the daughter is knitting the same pattern, and she's doing it with yarn that she's actually dyed herself, and it's in this beautiful color called Tiffany Box, and she's doing it in browns and like a tan color, and with hers you can really see the definition of the pattern in it. It's really turning out pretty. Speaking of patterns, if you notice, I'm in a different background yet again. I'm trying this in my kitchen this time because it's cold upstairs. Like I said, the room is torn apart, and so I thought I'd try something with a little different lighting. Yet again, you didn't know you were going to get a tour of my house before this was all done, but today I'm in my kitchen, and my walls look really weird colored, but they're actually like a kind of light gold color. It's just not showing up real well in the lighting. So anyway, this is the first WIP that I've got going on. Usually I've said it before, I try to only have 2 projects going at a time. Hasn't happened this time. I keep finding new things to be doing, and I've got 4 WIPs going right now. But let's get back to the ones that I was working on before. This is on those bamboo needles that I told you I didn't care for. And this is the cable sweater that I've been working on. And if you notice, it's not your eyes. This has shrunk because I ripped the entire thing out all over again. Let me show you a picture of what this pattern is supposed to look like. It is called the Barton Cardigan. There it is. You can see all the cables on it. It has cables completely all the way around. Front, back, sides, everything. It is from a book called Knitting Plus by Lisa Schroyer. The pattern itself here was designed by Marlena Bird. And I must need my eyes examined because I had told you 407 stitches all the way around. I was doing the largest version of this pattern. I think they do it in about 6 different sizes. I had gotten through the ribbing. I was into the body of the sweater, and I just started looking at what was hanging off the needles and thinking, this is awfully big. I just feel like it's just too big. So before I went any further, because it does take a lot of concentration to get all the way around, there's 4 different patterns. To make it all the way around, you have, once you get past the ribbing, you've got a chart for the left front, you have a chart for a gusset, you have a chart for the back, and then you have a chart, you have to go back to the gusset chart, and then you have another chart for the right front. So it's quite involved. It's not something you can sit there and watch TV and do. You've got to really be concentrating. So I thought, before I put this much time and effort, I want to double check this. I had checked my gauge ahead of time and I thought I had it right. But as it was stretching out some as I was knitting it, it just looked too big. So I checked it, I measured it, trying to do it on the needles, and I was thinking, this is coming off a lot bigger than what it's supposed to be. So I put a lifeline in, and if you aren't familiar with what a lifeline is, you use it a lot of times with knitting, lace especially. You just basically take a needle and some contrasting yarn, and you run it through the current needle stitches that are on your needle, so that when you take it off of the needles, you don't lose those stitches. You're not going to have yarn overs disappear or knit 2 together disappear. So I put the lifeline on, I took it off of the needles, and I was knitting a tent. It was huge. It must have been 14 inches too big around. I thought, how could the gauge be off that much? Excuse me. Then I realized that I had read the needle size wrong. It called for a 3.25 millimeter needle. I thought it said 3.75 millimeter needle, which I didn't have. So I went up to a 4 millimeter needle. So in other words, I was knitting with a needle that was 3/4 of a size larger than what I was supposed to have, which explained a lot. But when I put the stitches back on, I did not drop down to a smaller needle. I'm still using the size 4 needles. And I'll tell you why. I like the way the stitches are looking. I don't want something really dense. Because this is wool, it's going to be heavy enough. I really don't want something. I was afraid if I went down to the size 3.25s that they called for, that it would be so densely knit that it would be heavy. And I very rarely am that cold. I mean, I get cold, but not that cold that I need something that's going to be as thick as a winter coat. So I decided that I was going to keep it on the size 4 needles, but I dropped it down to the smallest size, but I'm doing it on the large needles. So I think it'll balance out pretty well. So I'm back at the ribbing again, starting over. And that's how far I've gotten with this one. And yeah, hopefully it'll work out this time. But I just didn't want to spend all that time knitting and then find out it was going to be like way too big and my husband and I could wear it together. That wasn't quite in the plans. Excuse me. So, as many of you knew in the last podcast, we had a new baby in the family. We have another grandson. That makes grandson number 9. We have 9 boys, 2 girls. Apparently we have an abundance of testosterone in our family. But anyway, I had held off making a baby Afghan until I knew if it was a boy or girl, because this might be my last chance to knit a pink baby Afghan. But seeing as that doesn't seem to be the case, and it's a boy, which we're happy about. That's fine, it's a boy. And we're looking forward to going out and seeing him, because they live out of state, so we'll go out and see them in a few weeks. So I started a baby Afghan. This is WIP number 3. Here it is, and it is not knitted. I decided I was going to once again try Tunisian crochet. The last time I tried Tunisian crochet, this past summer, I developed tendinitis from doing Tunisian crochet. From the act of pulling the stitches through, grabbing my hand, pulling this way, I developed tendinitis right here. I went to my family doctor. I went to an orthopedic surgeon twice. I had to wear a splint from here to here that came out to my thumb and held my hand like this. And eventually had to have a cortisone shot. Who knew crochet was a contact sport? You know, you kind of feel like a wimp when you're sitting in the orthopedic surgeon's office and all these other people have hurt themselves in an accident or, you know, doing sports. It's like, how did you do this? Crocheting. Sounds wimpy. But anyway, I was leery of trying it again. And then I thought, well, we'll give it a shot. Because the last thing I did in Tunisian crochet, I've done 3 projects total. This is my 3rd project in Tunisian crochet. The first one I had no problem whatsoever. The second one is the one I had problems with, and the material I was crocheting was a raw silk, which sounds like it should have been really soft. It wasn't. It's actually very coarse, and it's I don't know, it's not real soft. Maybe the more I wash it, it'll become softer. But it had a lot of drag on the hook when I would try to pull it, and I think that's what did it with the, it's not like I was doing a tight stitch. It was a real lacy open stitch. But I think just trying to pull it because it would get caught on the hook a lot, that was maybe some of my problem. So I've been doing this, but I've been only doing like 2 rows at a time so I don't overdo it and end up with tendinitis all over again. So it is just a basic stitch. There's no real name for this. This stitch, I got it out of the book. It's just stitch number 9. This is what it looks like. And the book that I'm using, I'll put the title in. I don't have it sitting here with me. It actually came with a DVD. I got it off of Amazon, And I am more of a visual learner than I am reading a pattern. If I can, especially if it's something like crochet that I'm not real familiar with, if I can look at a DVD and watch somebody do it, I stand better chance of understanding it. I just learned by watching somebody. So this is really good because I can put a DVD in, I can watch it and stop and start and stop and start until I get it right. So this is how far I've gotten so far. This is an acrylic, and it's just different baby colors. And I will put an edging on it, just because I think it needs one. I'm not sure if it'll probably be some kind of crochet edge. So that's it so far. It's about 6 inches. I've got a ways to go, but I've got lots of yarn. The yarn I'm using is a Karen Jumbo, and I don't know if it has a colorway listed or not. Just this baby rainbow. And there is a total of 340 grams, 595 yards. So yeah, I should have plenty for the baby blanket. So if you're not familiar with what Tunisian crochet is, the needle or the hook can come looking 2 different ways. This one looks like a crochet hook with a tail, like what you would have with a circular needle. And then it has a little bead on the end. It can also look like a long knitting needle that has a hook on the end. And what you do is, with crochet, normally when you go all the way across, you've completed a row. With Tunisian crochet, you load the stitches onto the needle, which is the case of what I've got now. They are loaded on. That's the first part of the row. The second part of the row, you chain them back off again. So you basically open the row and close the row. So it's kind of it's kind of a mix between knitting and crocheting. It's kind of a hybrid between the two is what it reminds me of. My daughter loves doing it, and she's making a gorgeous, I'm not sure what she's making out of it, but the material she's using, I actually have the same yarn, and I'm about ready to rip the vest out that I made out of this yarn and make it into what she's doing because it looks so pretty. But yeah, Tunisian crochet is something I had never heard of till I saw a lady in church doing it, and I was like, what's that? You know, of course, when she told me, I had to go out and try it myself because it's anything fiber related I'm fascinated with. So I'm giving it a shot. So far, the wrist is holding up and we're doing good. So that is WIP number 3. Then, if you remember, a couple weeks ago, I got an order in from eBay, a lady who had hand dyed 20 different minis, and I was going to do a post-advent, not sock, but cozy memories blanket. I hadn't planned on putting it on the needles yet, but then the yarn started calling my name, and it's so fascinating to watch it go from skeins that look like this, and then I roll them up in a ball, because it's really not enough to put on a winder. These are like 25 yards or less. And then I had to try it. I just had to try it. They fit in my purse, so it's something I can take with me and knit very easily. Yes, it's fun. It's addictive. These 2 are from the yarns that the lady sent me that I had ordered. The 2 solids are colors I had. This one I really like. This was one that, I forget what it was. It might have been, I think it's Ella Ray. I think this was Ella Ray. It looks brown at a distance, but when you get up close, it shows a little bit. It's got greens and rusts and like some fall colors in it. I actually knitted a hat and like a neck cowl type of thing for my dad for hunting, because it kind of reminded me, when you look at it closely, of camo colors, and it is wool. So, but like I said, this one is from the lady that, and I really like this one. It's pretty. It's got like pinks and oranges, and it almost is pooling like polka dots. But I really like it. In the skein, it looked like it was bubblegum colored, but when it got knitted up, it looks totally different. It's like having a little surprise package with every one, because like I said, they start out looking like this, and then you go to knit them, and they look totally different when they're knitted. Here's the blue one, and it's all different shades of blue. And this was just some green that I had from another project. So I put that in there because I've got some solid colors that I want to use up as well. So I'm just going to kind of mix them in. This is what the ball looks like when I've got it rolled up. This is how much I've got left over after I've knitted one square. And the squares are about 3.5 inches, maybe about 3.5 inches square. I don't have enough of the small. This is about 7 grams. This was so small it wouldn't even register on my scale. I know there's not enough to do a second ball out of this. But what I'm thinking, is when I finish, I will just add this with some solids or another color that I think will go with it and get another square out of it. So I'll have some that are kind of mixed and matched out of it. So that is my plan with that. I am not going to do, because my voice is really starting to go, I am not going to be doing a recommended read this week. And I guess I'm going to sign off here before I completely lose my voice. Oh, I should tell you what I'm wearing today, real quick. I have no idea what I'm wearing. How's that for an answer? Crazy, huh? But I made this several years ago. I know it's wool. It's a bulky worsted. It is in colors of tan and light blue and dark blue denim, and then it goes to a charcoal color. I don't remember what the pattern is. I don't remember what the name of the yarn is. But I really like the colors in it. And today it's cold out and it looks like it could snow again. We got a little bit of snow that came in from the west the other day, and now there's that storm coming up from the south. Where we're at, I don't know that we're going to get a whole lot of it, but it's cold and yucky out. It just feels snuggly, and I just want to sit in front of the heater with my hot tea. So anyway, I'm going to end it for this week, and hopefully next week I'll have the craft room finished, and I'll have my voice back by then. So thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.